first of all, we can't deny that the red square is an aspect of the world. Okay, we can't, because there it is. There's aspects of the red square that are contingent on my mind, the secondary qualities in a sense. There's aspects of the square that are existent truths independent to my perception of them. That's the square, right? The square is. People will even debate that. Again, general account. Insofar as we make this recognition, there has to be agreement, though we can disagree on the specifics, that some aspects of the world exist independent to perception, and some aspects of the world precisely gain their meaning from the perception, from the contextualized, reference-based modalities of the body, right? Our body facilitates as a method, as a mode, as a mechanism of assessing the world. I mean, that's just fact. That's just fact, right? Since it's fact that our body does this and many, many other things, why wouldn't it be the case that we would want to recognize the body? Why would you not want to do that? And I recognize the religious tradition because it is prone to error. There's no denying that. It depends on, I'm not going to go off on a tangent, but it depends on how you look at that error, right? Some people really undervalue error. Some people overvalue error. But I'm not going to really address that, right? So how do we connect our thoughts to the world? I showed you a brief example. So remember, I forgot where this adage, and now this is what I've been waiting to say for quite a long time, but I didn't want to jump ahead, right? I don't remember where this adage comes from, but the theory, when we're talking about theories, right, and theoretical understanding, and the attempt to posit theory, insofar as we posit theory into the world, right, the theory has to conform to the facts that exist. It's never the other way around. You never take facts and try to amend the facts to theory. That's one of the huge problems with social Darwinism, right? The idea was, okay, we have a great scientific fact. The theory did conform and does conform to observable tons, and I'm not going to go off on this argument and debate, but I mean, it is a theory, yes, we recognize that, but it is buttressed, being Darwinism, is buttressed by, I mean, ridiculous levels of data, obscene levels of data. In terms of scientific reproducibility, it's probably the most reproducible data in science to support Darwinism, right? It's just, and I don't know that is fact, that claim that I just said. So for you science buffs that are watching, and I know you will be, tell me if that's right. I know reproducibility is one of the steps in the scientific method, and how many times has it been verified? In terms of site explorations, archaeology, biology, blah blah blah, a ton of times, countless times, right? The theory has been, the findings have been, are reproducible. You can identify stuff in the world. You can see it in the world, right? So the theory then, being Darwinism, wasn't Darwin's attempt to construct reality. No, it was Darwin's recognition of some facts in the world, and he checked to make sure that his theory conformed to the facts. They did conform to the facts, and we give him praise for his insight, because it was his insight, right? It was his biological, right? It was him as an individual person. It was his body. It was the way in which his body accessed the world and looked at the world that made sense of this. Same thing with Newton, right? That, I don't know how true it is. It sounds like probably a bit apocryphal, but they say Newton was sitting under the apple tree and the apple fell, and his perception of the apple led him to do what he did. Oh my goodness! Like, what mind does this guy have? I need to sit under more apple trees. If that really is true, I'm going to be like Newton and just go veg out by myself in isolation and wait for apples to fall and hit me on the head. Right? I'm teasing here. But the idea is that the theories that we posit conform to the facts, not the other way around. We don't look at facts and then say, oh, well, this one aspect of the fact I don't particularly like, so we're going to change the way in which these facts are interpreted so it conforms to the theory. You don't do that. right? Theories conform to facts. Facts never, ever, never conform to the theory, right? Change your theory so that your theory relates to the facts. If you can do that, and you can do that well, then you too could, not always because it's hard to do, you could arrive at a recognition that no one's arrived at before, right? You can arrive at an interpretive mechanism, and of course we know science, even the best of science is always an inference to the best explanation, but we arrive at the best explanation given the data, right? For me specifically as a social scientist and not a hard scientist, I hope I did this in my analysis of genocidal intent. We'll wait and see how that pans out. But the idea is my interpretation isn't something that I sat down and created. My interpretation is contingent on a lot of facts. And the end result you guys see is not the initial assumptions that I began with. I began with completely different assumptions and a completely different analysis. And as I found facts, I was like, well, I can't say that then, right? That has to be, I have to get rid of this piece because here's statistical proof, right? Here's the data. Here's what happened. So this can't be. So I changed the theory. And also here's what happened. So that can't be. So I changed the theory. And then I have finally articulated the theory. And when the full and proper articulation of the theory conforms in every aspect to the facts, then I say, well, now I'm done. Now my research is finished, right? Because I've said what I wanted to say, and what I want to say conforms to the facts, and then you present it for public consumption, right? That's the role. So the facts never conform to the theory. Similarly, to answer the question of how we connect our minds to the world, we have to acknowledge the influence of facts in framing the ways in which we process and sort information. I could take this to a real occultist level, but I won't. It's not just the case that the given sense data frames the way in which we think, as I just demonstrated. We change the theory based on the facts. But the facts really should transform the way in which you are, you live. It should transform your body to some sense. And if it doesn't transform your body, and if your body won't adapt to facts in the world, then you should at every time know, oh no, I know what I'm doing is bad or good or beneficial to the body or not beneficial to the body, but I make that decision consciously. You're entitled to that. But there is a sense in which, just as we recognize given sense data influence and frame theoretical analysis and research, such that the theory has to conform to the facts. And we recognize that the way, and actually I want to draw this because this might not seem, so we have the given, right? Right? Means contextualization. I ran out of space. So the individual body, the body becomes the means of contextualization. We have the given sense data. The given sense data informs the body, influences the body, projects itself onto our faculty of sensibility as the means of contextualizing this given, and then the theory develops from this given, right? Such that the theory conforms to the facts and never the facts to the theory. But since we recognize that the theory is a product itself of an antecedent cause, the antecedent being the body, and that the body as the means of contextualizing is itself, and this is important, right? The body is itself the link in terms of, if you want to do a hypothetical, right? You could do a hypothetical syllogism with this. I'm not going to formalize it, right? But we arrive from the given to theories that conform to fact via the body, right? So the body is the link, right? The body is the link here, and the body is the link here, which links the given to the theory. And you could flesh out the necessary argument to legitimize that claim, right? For me, that's super, super powerful. What's more powerful, however, is a recognition of the body as the means for context, right? The body becomes the means for context. So when we talk about Darwinism, right? It's not just the theoretical analysis that's important, it's also